Good morning. So starting this month or today and the month of February, we will be focusing on cartoon characters, which is one of the first things you requested when I tried to figure out what some of your interests were so we could make art a little more exciting. So with that, there will be one of the contests you wanted to do. So each month we'll have a different theme. That's what all the projects will go around, and that's what the contest will be about. So the contest for, once again, I'm saying this month, but really it's February because this is the last week of January, is going to be best cartoon character. Okay, so the drawing contest is best cartoon character. This needs to be your work. If I find any of the pictures are from the internet, I'm deleting them from the contest, okay? But draw a cartoon character. It'll be due, and this is optional. Drawing contest is optional. Just want to let you know that we're going to start it. They won't be due till February 15th. You can vote until the 21st, and then the 22nd, that morning, I'll check it. Whoever has the most likes, it'll be in a discussion on Canvas, and I'll allow you to like each other's artwork. Whichever one has the most likes will be the winner for this drawing contest for the month of February. So I just want to give you a heads up. That's what we're going to start doing each month. Once again, this month, or for February, the theme is cartoon characters, and the drawing contest is best cartoon character, okay? This can be a cartoon character we know and love. This could be a cartoon character you create, and we'll work on doing different cartoon characters every week to kind of help. So for today, we're just going to start with some guided drawings of cartoon characters that you guys requested. We're going to do Snoopy, and we're going to do Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. I'm just going to do it on a dry erase board. You can do it on pencil paper. You can do it using your iPad, whatever works easiest for you. You'll just turn in, for this week, you'll just turn in the guided drawings, how you do with them. All right, so the first character we're going to draw is Snoopy. We're going to start with his head. So there's going to be a curved line kind of where his forehead is. It'll dip down and then it'll go out and down. It's like the forehead, and then this starts to be his snout. Snoopy is a dog, and it's going to come back. It's going to curve back in till about where this indent was here, and then it'll curve down for the start of his neck. If we come to the other side, there's going to be his ear. So it'll curve around and down and back in. And the other side of his neck will be right here. He does have a tiny little neck and a great big head. His eye will just be an oval shape. It just goes up and down, just a small one. And he does have a little hair kind of sticking out, just one little hair sticking out on top of his head. His collar will be right where these two lines came. You could just make the mark there. It'll be a little bit wider than his neck. His nose is going to curve out and back in, and it kind of doesn't necessarily point down, but it leans down just a little bit. Curving back in for his nose, and then his mouth is going to start a tiny bit above, or not above, but in front of his eye, and it'll go a little bit to behind his eye right here. When we go to draw his body, it is pretty small compared to his head. You'll kind of imagine where this line continues down, and it'll curve out for his little tummy and then back in. On the other side, it's going to curve back the other way, in and up, and this is actually going to be his arm. You could add two little lines just to indicate where his little paw is here, his little hand. We're going to add just a little extra back here so his arm isn't all the way to the back. And then we're going to add his tail, which is going to Just kind of point and curve out and then back in. The last thing we have to add is his feet. So you just curve this back in, and then I'm going to do 2 lines down, 1 and 2. Go ahead and make sure those the front of his body connects to this leg. It's going to curve, well, it'll be straight and then it'll curve down. So straight and then curve down towards the front and then towards the back, but the back won't go out as far. And then the bottom of his foot's pretty much flat. And then you can just add the indicators of his little toes on his paw. There's 2 little lines here. The one on the other side is going to be kind of on the other side of this one. So draw the line down. You'll just see just the top and then a little bit of the front. And there's his other little foot. And if you want to add, it's kind of hard to do it with the marker because it's thick, but if you want to add the indicator of where his other toe is, you can. Last thing we're going to add is the spot on his ear. I'm going to adjust just right here, just so it looks like a little more like a finger. I just kind of indented in. And then he has a dark circle on his ear. Just make sure it's not touching. Just want to make sure to leave a gap around the outside. And then that's Snoopy. So the other cartoon character we are going to draw is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. When you go to turn this in, you could have them both on the same paper or board or sketch in your iPad, or you can do them separate, and you only have to turn in one or the other. If you do them together, you could turn in both, but otherwise just pick which one you think came out better, and that'll be the one you turn in. For Stitch, you're going to start with a circle for his head. All right, and then we're going to add in his body. Similar to other cartoon characters, his head is pretty big compared to his body, so keep that in mind. The body, his body's turned a little in this picture, so we'll start over here on this side. It's going to curve out and then in and down, around over to the other side, in, and then just go ahead and draw it to connect up. His arm is going to be here, so if you want to leave a small gap to help add that in, you can. And then inside of this, you're going to kind of draw that same shape again, but to be the lighter patch of fur on his stomach. So you'll just start on the edge of his head and just kind of follow this shape. You're going to make it thinner on this side than on this side because his body is turned a little, so we'd see a little more of his side over here. And then he has some lines that indicate his fur on his chest, and those will just be like curved V's. Just fit them in the best you can, so it'll kind of curve and point and come back in. So his arm is what we'll draw next. You might have to erase part of this area. If you're drawing with something that you can't erase, just draw over those lines. So it'll, oops, the line will stick out, and then it's going to turn and curve back in. You're going to go pretty much to, a little bit bigger, but you're going to go to where it'll touch his side. So it'll come out and so it touches his side. And then you're going to leave a little bit of space up here, and then you're going to draw a line that comes this way. His hand's on his hip. You'll draw that line down, and then we're going to draw another line. kind of curves and touches in front of it, and then it's going to come around past the other line we drew over to the side, and that'll be where his little hand or claw is. His little fingers are kind of round, and you just see two of them. And then they have claws. And I know this is really small and hard to see, so I'll draw it larger here. So his arm came out and in, a line, and then a curve around. And then when you get to his little paw, you're going to draw a half circle. And actually there's a little line right here if that helps. And then like another half circle, and then his claws stick out that way, kind of like that. So that's bigger if that helps you see how to draw it. So then the next step is going to be to add his other arm. You'll start, it's going to kind of go behind his head over here. So you'll start a little bit from behind the head, and it'll just kind of curve and go in a little. And then you're going to leave a space for his wrist, and you'll draw another curve. The top of his arm is thicker than where it's connecting to his body. So curve, and then it'll come in and connect, and we want it to look thinner towards his body than over here. Okay, and then when you draw his little hand or little claw, you're going to draw curve out on each side, see the sides of the hand, and then he has 4 little finger things. They're going to be half circles, and then in between each one you'll just draw a little line. So half circle, little line, half circle, little line, half circle, till you add all 4, and then add his little claws. All right. So we're going to add in his legs, and his legs are pretty short compared to his arms and his body. We'll put in one on this side first, and then the one on this side. You're just going to draw a curve around like this. And then you're going to add in his toes. That'll just be curves 1, 2, 3. And then it'll go back and just draw a curve to connect up kind of to his body. And actually I'm gonna see if I can come in a little bit closer for the other one so you can see a little bit better. So once again, it's gonna be a curve. And then you'll add in his toes. 1, 2, 3, and then this will go back and up, and then just draw a line to connect back. All right, so then we're going to add in his ears and his face to get him to start looking more like Stitch. So his head is tilted some, so this ear is going to kind of come up this way a little bit, and this one will be more out towards the side. You're going to start a little bit above the arm, and you're going to kind of curve up. It'll come around, and then there's going to be like a V shape in, a point in, and then try to go back to, if you imagine if that line just continued. And then this will come, and you're going to curve in, and it'll kind of go behind that other line you drew. You're going to draw a small line on each side, connects from his head to the edge of his ear. other side, it's going to be a little bit lower, but you will kind of start once again a little bit further up the head above that arm. It's going to curve out, around and down, and then add in that kind of V shape, that pointed shape, and it's going to come back and connect. This one leaves a little bit of space here. It doesn't kind of overlap like the one on that side, and you're only going to draw a line on the top side here to connect over. For his face, we're going to start with his mouth. He has a big open grin kind of in this picture. So between his ear and his shoulder here, that's where you're going to start, and you're going to draw a line across over to kind of between this other ear and shoulder. So it helps to start on whichever side. It won't completely touch over here, but it will completely touch over here. So you're just going to draw that line across. When you get to the end over here, do a small curve up and add a little indicator line of kind of his smile there. And then you're just going to draw a line across the bottom, and it'll just follow the curve of the bottom of his head. And then he has 2 teeth on the top. They're kind of, they're pointed, but they're also kind of round. And then he has 4 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, and 4. His nose is round and pretty big. So it'll go here, kind of in the center. So you'll just start with the circle first. And then to each side, you're going to add in his nostril, and it's going to just kind of be like a loop that connects down to the bottom. A loop that connects down to the bottom. It's kind of hard to see that shape. Hopefully you can kind of tell. And I don't remember if I said this before, but you can, of course, pause this and re-watch it or slow it down as you need to. Above his nose, we're going to draw 2 small curves or lines to just kind of indicate top of his nose there. And then his eyes have a lighter patch of blue fur around them, like his stomach has a lighter patch. So we're going to add those in. And actually, we're going to add 2 lines to indicate where the top of those will be, kind of where his eyebrows are. So over here, you're going to draw a curve that kind of sticks up past that line you already drew. So you might have to erase a little, if not, kind of draw over it like I did just there. And then the other one will be over here. And then we have to add his little fur on the top of his head. So on this side, it'll curve up, point that way, and then kind of come around. Now you can erase just that top center part of his head if that's easier, and then add that in. So once again, there'll be like a curve point up, and then it'll point out, and then it'll just curve around. All right, so back to his eyes. So underneath this is where you'll start that oval that goes around his eyes. So it'll kind of curve up in this area. It'll come to right by his nose and curve around and out to right by his ear. And it'll do that kind of on both sides. So the top will be underneath this kind of eyebrow line we added here. It'll come to right by his nose, and then it'll curve over and out towards his eye. And actually, I think I put his face a little too, or his mouth a little too high up. I don't have quite enough room here, so let me adjust this. So then you're going to draw an oval inside. On each side to be his eye. And then in each eye, you'll add a circle towards the top to be the highlight of his eye. So this part would be what would be black colored in. And then that smaller circle would be what was left white. If this was a colored version. And that's Stitch. So once again, you're just going to turn in one or the other of these. Or if you put them on both on the same paper, you can turn in both together. But you just need to pick one to turn in for the assignment this week. Okay?